All right, guys, welcome to the Miraculous Mamas podcast, and I am joined by a very special co-host today, Danielle Maltby.
Hey, guys, I'm so excited. I love Liz, I love babies, I love mamas, all the good stuff.
All of it. But she's going to just be with us through this episode, giving us some nurse advice, and then first of all, just catching up. I was super excited that even though I don't get to see you all the time, I still get to see you sometimes because I just watched you on Jimmy Kimmel.
Yes, yeah, we just finished up the Bachelor segment.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, Jimmy and I, we went on some dates together with these other guys to try and, find the best man for us.
That was hilarious. I was dying laughing.
He's so awesome. His wife had I think he said his wife actually came up with the skit, but I didn't get to meet her. I was so bummed. I really wanted to meet her too, but they're fabulous. I loved working with them. It was so much fun. I'm still like, pinch me.
Yeah.
Like, did that all really develop?
Yeah. So these guys literally had zero idea when they were walking up, right?
They had zero idea. And that's why I felt so bad. Because I was like, I feel like I'm lying to these dudes. Like, I'm catfishing these dudes, but I'm not catfishing them because it's actually me. But I wanted to try and meet some new people, but I had to keep the lie out about oh yeah, it's actually going to be a 10-minute date. And oh, by the way, Jimmy Kimmel's going to be on it with us.
Right. So they think they're going on a date with you and you're like, it's more like speed dating with Jimmy Kimmel.
Yes, exactly. And I apologize for my voice right now. I'm a little under the weather.
Yeah.
We're good. We're going to push through
A lot of people I feel like are going through it right now. I've had 4 people tell me that they're super sick.
Yeah, there's lots of sinus infections going around. It's flu season, obviously. And there's been big measles outbreak and stuff too again, which is ugh.
Yeah, that's kind of scary.
Yeah.
I don't know much about measles or stuff like that. So
yeah.
I thankfully have never really had the flu. I had it once my freshman year of high school. So that was oh my gosh, 17, 18 years ago now. Oh my gosh. That's so long ago.
Don't age yourself.
Oh my gosh.
You still look like a young tulip.
Oh, man. I had the flu once and it was not fun, but I've been one of the fortunate people that hasn't really gotten it. I'll get my seasonal cold or seasonal sinus infection. Then I get seasonal allergies and maybe a little cold with that. But I get diarrhea way more than the average person. So there's that. Maybe I don't get the flu once a year. I just have small bouts of diarrhea throughout every week.
Well, and that's a common misconception. Everyone thinks that if you're puking and pooping your brains out, that's the flu. And it's flu's mostly respiratory. And if you're going to puke, it's because you have all the nasal drainage coming down into your stomach.
Oh my gosh, you're so smart. You're just blowing my mind right now. Mythbusters with Danielle Maltby.
Maltby Busters.
There you go.
Malt Busters.
Malt Busters. I'm writing this down.
That's the cold medicine talking.
Malt Busters. Nobody steal our idea. Go away.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It's copywritten. Don't copy me.
Right. Exactly. So this is the month of love.
It's February.
Yeah. It's Love Month. It's Heart Awareness Month. I know there was a lot of Galentine's stuff, a lot of Valentine's stuff.
Yes, lots of Galentine's stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Did you do anything fun for Galentine's?
No.
Will you be my Galentine?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we're each other's Galentines right now. So
yeah.
I
went to the ballet in Nashville. It was really wonderful.
Oh, yeah. That looked beautiful.
It was so gorgeous.
Yeah.
It was stunning. I want to get back into ballet once I have this respiratory thing figured out.
I forgot you were a dancer.
I'm a dancer.
A dancer.
Yep.
Yeah. So one thing about February, a lot of people mark it as the month of love, which it is. People celebrate. I'm not a huge Valentine's Day person. Whether I'm in or out of a relationship, I just don't really care about it as much.
Yeah.
I think if I'm
I just like to celebrate love all the time.
Right, exactly. And that's what I was going to say is I feel like if I'm in a loving, respectful relationship, I don't feel the need for it as much because I feel appreciated throughout the whole year. But I've been in a relationship before where I was like, you better do something for me for Valentine's Day. And it's because they never showed that they appreciated me. So I like needed it that much more, you know?
Which is also a sign of probably not the best relationship.
Probably.
Yeah. That's not, I mean, like, that's not, you know.
But yeah, so February is the month of love. Love comes from your heart, and it is Heart Awareness Month. And in a little bit, we're going to be having Lisa on with us to share her story of her baby who was born with Congenital Heart Defect. And so we just wanted to take the time to kind of spread awareness on the topic since it is heart awareness, and that there are so many, when people think of heart disease, they think of when you're old and when they think of problems with your heart, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people think it's more of an adult complication, you know, like age and wear on your body. People think like heart attacks right away, but
and I think people think that that's more prominent in men too.
Yeah.
But I know that there's some growing studies finding it more common, not more common in women than men, but just like recognizing it more in women than maybe there have been in the past.
Well, yeah. And like with heart attacks too, symptoms show differently in women than they do in men.
You know what? I saw that. I was, this is like a super side note, but about a week ago, I had the worst heartburn of my life, and I was Googling if I was having a heart attack because it lasted for 12 hours. Nothing was relieving it. I was curled up in a ball crying. Like I would get to a point where I'm like, okay, I can walk, whatever. And then I was like,
sure it was heartburn and not like your gallbladder or something?
I don't know. But I was like, baby, you might have to take me to the hospital. You might have to take me to the hospital. And I just like, I don't know. And then he gave me this stuff called brioche. And it's like this Italian, like he had to go to this Italian supermarket and find it because as a kid, they would give it to him all the time. And I took some and I started like burping and farting. And he was like, I've never been so happy to hear you fart in my life. And I like started to feel better.
That's where it's true love. Oh my God.
But I didn't.
You and Vito, I love y'all.
He's the best. But my chest it wasn't necessarily my chest. It was like that point right below, that was in so much pain that I was actually Googling like effects of heart attacks. And they were saying that in women, the signs appear different than in men. So I found that very interesting.
Yep.
Because most people assume it's like down your left arm, tingle, chest.
Yeah. People just automatically grab their chest and like knock out. But I mean, there's sweating, there's like pressure on your chest, there's dizziness, there's the left arm pain, there's heartburn, there's a lot of signs that you could be having a heart attack.
Yeah. Well, thankfully I wasn't. So. All right, I want to take a minute to talk to you guys about this amazing company. Have you ever heard of Smilo? It's this new baby-focused company, and all of their products are really easy to focus more on yourself and growing your family. They're useful creations. They're designed by doctors and engineers with help and feedback of actual parents. These are people who are taking care of real babies, so real parents. And Smilo brings you the best options for soothing pregnancy, baby and toddler. They're known for their 3-in-1 nursing and pregnancy pillow, their baby lounger, bottles, pacifiers, sippy cups. It really is a one-stop shop, guys. I want to tell you guys about their lounger really quick. It's temperature controlled to reduce the risk of overheating, which is a recognized cause of SIDS. It's breathable sidewalls, cradle your baby, and prevent rollover. It's easy to remove and wash cover, and it assembles in seconds. They also have an amazing Monarch pillow. They have tons of different baby products, and you have a friend that is expecting, well, you can use one of their one-of-a-kind baby bundles. Everything is centered around great design, but they don't forget to put the fun colors in there. Check out the ways Smilo can make your life as a parent more enjoyable at smilobaby.com and use promo code BABIES to save 20%. These must-haves are available only at smilo.com. Check them out. So one of the things with a congenital heart defect, it's something that a lot of babies are born with. So 1 in 100 babies in the United States are born with it.
Yes. Like you said, about 1 in 100 babies are born with a congenital heart defect, but those can all vary in severity. A lot of babies are still born with a tiny hole in their heart that's left over from fetal circulation, which it just means like the circulation that's happening throughout the baby's body, while the baby's still inside mom.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And there's different like pressure changes and stuff that happen in the heart and lungs once the baby's born to either close that hole so that the baby can start breathing and circulating out in the real world, not in the womb.
Yeah. That's so interesting.
But those close on their own. But there are a lot of different heart defects and stuff, and some that affect can be I get so nervous when I talk about heart stuff.
Don't be nervous.
Okay, so we can cut some of that part out. But there are a lot of heart defects that are very dangerous. And we do screenings in the NICU and in newborn nursery to check for any sort of heart defects. So if like you have a baby and you have like a newborn and they're kind of, maybe they might be breathing a little hard, or they might have kind of like a dusky blue color to them. Like those are signs like as the new mom, like you should definitely alert your nurse too. And they'll check and listen and make sure your baby's oxygenating well. You might need various different tests and stuff down the road, but those are also good things to look for when you go home. And because some defects don't present until like maybe like a couple days after birth. Mm-hmm. And it's like if you get home and your baby's really sluggish, you can't really wake them up. They might be kind of like sweaty and clammy. They might have some like blueness around their lips. Their nail beds might be kind of dusky. And they aren't really eating, or they aren't having any wet diapers. Like those are all signs that you should really bring your baby into the emergency room quickly.
Yeah, that is very informative for me.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm already learning a lot. You're so wise, Danielle.
Well, thank you. Like heart defects are one of those things where some people, at least like in the NICU field, are like, oh yeah, I love taking care of heart kids. Or I love taking care of micro preemies, or I love taking care of like surgical kids. So especially like in the NICU, we usually take care of any sort of like cardiac defects, but we take them up until they go to surgery. And so like once they go to surgery, then they end up, the pediatric cardiac ICU will recover them. Mm-hmm. And we usually don't see them after that. So we only kind of deal with them in like the first hours to days, sometimes weeks, before kids are ready for their like first heart surgeries, depending on the type of defects that they have. But they've never been my specialty. Mm-hmm. I kind of tend to lean more towards like the lung and like gut defects and stuff like that. But heart defects are they're fascinating. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of procedures and stuff that we end up doing at bedside sometimes like surgeries that are done at the bedside with cardiac babies, just to even like open up one small hole in a chamber, just to allow more mixing of like oxygenated versus like unoxygenated blood, so that the baby is going to start circulating better, and then more oxygen is getting to different organ systems and stuff like that. So there's so much to learn about hearts. So I will do my best today, but I'm always trying to learn more about them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you've offered tons of great tips and advice and stuff on it so far, way more than I knew. I Googled some stuff that was, and I hate just like, I mean, I like looking up more statistics so that like 1 in 100 babies finding that out. But once I start reading some other things, I just always want to make sure that it comes from like a good source. And I'm more of a statistic person.
Good sources for that, like the Mayo Health Clinic systems and stuff. They have really good resources online for families. Children's Hospital of Philadelphia is a great heart hospital, and they have a lot of good information and stuff about heart defects and stuff too.
Yeah. Well, very cool. All right. I'm going to take a second to tell you about an app that I absolutely love, and that is Postmates. I mean, who other than your absolute best friends could you ask to bring you red wine at 4 p.m. and sushi at 9 p.m. and a breakfast burrito at 8 a.m.? Postmates. Postmates is your personal food delivery, grocery delivery, whatever you can think of delivery service all year round. No more trips to the store. You don't even have to know where the store is. Postmates will deliver anything to you. You download the app for iOS or Android for free, browse local restaurants and businesses, and track your delivery. 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, Postmates will bring you what you want within the hour. Anything that you're craving, they can deliver. They're the largest on-demand network in the known universe, with more than 25,000 partner merchants. For a limited time, Postmates is giving our listeners $100. That's right, $100 of free delivery credit for your first 7 days. To start your free deliveries, download the app right now and use code BABES100. That's code BABES100 for $100 of free delivery credit for your first 7 days when you download the Postmates app. Get anything you need, anytime you need it. Download Postmates and save with code BABES100. Well, let's get Lisa on, and then she's going to share her story with us, and we're going to share it with you guys. All right. So for this next portion of the podcast, we call it Womb There It Is. It's sounds like whoop, but it's a womb, and it's our birth story. There it is. Exactly. And it's our birth story section, and we have Lisa Fortenbaugh with us today, who has an amazing story to share with us. So thank you for being here, Lisa.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. And what's your daughter's name?
Millie.
Millie. Cool.
Millie.
Yeah. So she kind of is what actually inspired me to want to do this episode, was a post that Lisa shared about Millie and congenital heart defects. And I thought February was just kind of the perfect time to share that. And her post just really inspired me. So why don't you kind of share Millie's story with us?
So when we got pregnant, I guess on the higher side of age. How old am I? 35 now. So I was 34 when I got pregnant. And so my doctor recommended that I go see a high risk OB for my anatomy scan at 20 weeks. And he was like, everything's going to be fine. Don't worry about it. It's going to be great. He's going to tell you everything's perfect. And then you'll come back and see me and finish off your pregnancy and everything. And when I went there, I was more concerned about what I was going to see, her little face and her hands and her feet and all of that.
Yeah.
And they kept spending a lot of time on her heart. And I'm a first time mom, so I had no idea what's a normal amount of time to spend there or what it's necessarily supposed to look like. And so the tech at the end, he's like, so I think she might have a heart defect. And I was like, oh, geez, never had that even crossed my mind. He's like, it's called plastic left heart syndrome. But let me go get the doctor and we'll confirm. I'm like, okay. So he leaves and comes back. And then it was just like a whirlwind of emotion and everything. He did confirm that she had it. So she was diagnosed. It was 20 weeks and 2 days, I think. And so that was when we found out that basically the whole left side of her heart didn't form. So what she's basically working with is just the right side of her heart. And what they do for that is a 3 surgery process to try to make her half a heart function like our whole heart does. So she had a surgery when she was 7 days old. And then she had an additional surgery when she was about 3.5 months old. It was scheduled for the day right before her 4-month birthday, but they had to scoot it up because she was declining in health and she needed oxygen. And the temporary repair that they had done initially wasn't working anymore. So they did that at 3.5 months, and then she'll have another surgery sometime between 3 and 5 years old.
Yeah. Wow. So what was that?
That's so intense.
Yeah. What was, I guess, that experience then for you? Like when you kind of found that out, what were your first initial reactions?
Well, my first initial reaction, because I had never even heard of this before, and like I said, it had never crossed my mind. When he told me it was when that doctor told me it was a 3 surgery process, I was like, oh, okay, so it'll be 3 surgeries and it'll be done. And he's like, yeah, it's usually just 3 surgeries, and I didn't know anything about it, so I went home and researched because I have my WebMD degree, and that was when I found out that there's not a cure for it. It's just to make her heart function similarly to how ours do. And that really set in the most was that there's nothing that can be done to fix it. Like even if she were to have a transplant, that still doesn't fix it because then you have to take anti-rejection medication, and that just brings a whole different set of problems and concerns and dangers and all of that.
Yeah. So was your pregnancy, I guess, like pretty normal then?
It was, with the exception of that, and kind of knowing that was coming. It did change things a lot. Knowing that when she was born, there was a possibility that she might not survive to that first surgery, might not make it through that first surgery, and all of that came with it. It made me feel a lot differently about my pregnancy. I was torn whether I wanted to have I want to say bridal shower, a baby shower. Any of that kind of stuff. I didn't feel like I should do any of that because what if, something happened? I didn't want to put her nursery together because what if something happened? And my husband and my family were like, no, you have to just kind of keep going. And not that I didn't want to continue with my pregnancy. That's not what I'm saying. It made it tough for me to kind of have excitement in some of those little things.
Yeah. Yeah. We see that happens a lot. With like moms in the NICU, like that's a common thing, like moms, especially that know about these like pre-existing heart conditions or gut defects or something like that. They're like not wanting to have that like expectations too high, like just to try and like protect yourself.
Right.
At least that's the kind of the vibe and stuff that I've gotten from like some of my patients and stuff.
Yeah, that's very similar. I mean, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah. So how old is your daughter now?
She is 10 months. She'll be 11 months on the 26th.
Oh, yay.
So it's almost a year.
That's so exciting. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
And I feel like that doesn't get said enough either. Like you still just had a baby. Like that's still an exciting, wonderful thing. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Is she still in the hospital or is she home now?
No, we've actually been really, really lucky. We're here in Houston, so we went to Texas Children's, which is number 1 for cardiology. There's my little
great cardiac hospital.
But they're very conservative with things, and they told us there's a real possibility that she's not going to come home between those first 2 surgeries, and there's most of the babies that have HLHS don't get to. We were really lucky that she is a little kick-ass fighter, and she has done such
Yay!
In the hospital, they were like, you're not going to be able to breastfeed her. You're going to have to pump. You won't ever get to nurse her. It'll be too tiring for her, and so on and so forth. And she actually was willing and ready and wanting to do it since when she came out.
Wow, that's awesome.
That's so exciting.
Yeah, so she's done really amazing. So we were in the hospital for 5 weeks and 1 day after she was born. Came home until July the 5th. We got readmitted because she was having oxygen problems. They readmitted us and they kept us there for 8 days. And then they decided to move up her surgery and there was no rooms and blah, 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 blah. So they sent us home for 1 night and then had us come right back the next day for her surgery. And we were there for an additional 8 days. But she's actually been home since then. And she's been
amazing.
She's been healthy until she got sick on Saturday.
Oh, man.
First time she ever has been sick, which is just scaring the ever-living crap out of me.
Yeah.
You're allowed.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, I'm going to take a second to tell you about one of our sponsors. Let me tell you about Noom and how they can help you live a healthier lifestyle. Try something new and different. You can try Noom. You get different results, and that's because you're going to use a different approach with Noom. You learn, you don't just diet. You build new, better habits for yourself, and you learn about what is blocking you from your success and your goals and what you want to reach. With Noom, you'll have personalized training and your own support team for less than the price of a single appointment with a nutritionist or a personal trainer. You have a goal specialist, and they help you change your behavior. And they're a nutrition expert and a fitness trainer all in one. Noom has a whole community, and they are there for you. You go to group discussions with fellow Noom members to keep you encouraged. And it's an easy 30-second online evaluation that shows you what your goals are going to be with fitness. I've been trying Noom out because with the wedding planning and all the craziness, I wasn't having time to get to the gym, and I just really wanted to fit in some workouts and not really have to think about what am I making for dinner and everything. So it's definitely helped me out over the last few weeks, just get in a workout when I haven't had time to leave my house. So Noom is designed for results. It's out with the old habits and in with the new, and you sign up for your trial today at Noom. That's noom.com/babes. What do you have to lose? Visit noom.com/babes to start your trial today. Again, that's noom.com/babes. Start losing weight for good. Were you, I guess, I don't know much about it, so when you went into labor, was there any additional precautions, I guess, they had to take that way with you giving birth, or were you able to just have a birth how you planned?
I didn't even know what to expect as far as that. So I didn't really have much of a birth plan other than I didn't want to have an epidural if I didn't have to, because I wanted to be able to go see her. And they told me that was going to prevent it. I ended up having to have an epidural because they induced me 2 days before my due date, because they wanted her to come on that Monday so that they had all the doctors and everybody was around. So when it came time for me to push and everything, they had, I honestly wasn't paying that close of attention, but everyone told me that there was like 30 different people in there between the nurses and the doctors for me and her. Mm-hmm. And it was like a packed room full of people. Yeah. And when I was pushing and whatnot, they kept putting oxygen on me because they said that her oxygen was dipping when I was pushing and I guess straining. But other than that, there was no extra special precautions or anything. They didn't know exactly what was going to happen, if I was going to be able to have a natural birth or if I was going to have a C-section or anything. Yeah. I was, I guess, lucky. Yeah.
That's really amazing, though.
That's what you want to call it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's amazing when you say, like, there's a pack of people there. I mean, that is something that I always feel so grateful for, like, medical research and, like, birthing now, with being able to have these people who are there who know what's going on and ready to receive your little girl and do whatever they can for her and for you. Like, that's so awesome.
Yeah. And that's what's so important with prenatal care and stuff too. So, like, the sooner you as, like, a parent know what's going on or the potential for, like, a defect or something like that, the more time, like, the hospital teams and stuff have time to like get together and prepare, because we like to be able, it's really helpful for us because then we can have all the medications on hand that we might need to help either resuscitate you or resuscitate the child, if it should have even come to that. Right. But it's easier for our team to be able to follow along, with your journey and everything like that. So
absolutely. It was so, because when she came out, they took her straight away to her little warmer and started putting in her lines, and I didn't get to hold her. Yeah. I literally held her for, I think, 2 minutes before they whisked her away to the ICU. So yeah. It was tough from that standpoint, for sure. I didn't get that special, skin to skin bonding moment with her.
And I can only imagine. I can only imagine how hard that is.
Yeah. So sorry, did they have to do the first surgery right away then in the hospital? Is that?
Yeah. What happens is the fetal heart flow is actually different than what happens once they're born. And there's I forget the technical term, but there's holes in the heart that after a couple of days after you're born, they start to close up. And her heart only has the 2 chambers. They needed to keep those holes open. So they put a line in her umbilical cord to give her medication to keep those holes open and that's just a temporary measure until her first surgery. And so it's all kind of a waiting game to see how her body, or each child, it's a waiting game to see how their body reacts and how it responds.
Yeah.
Once they're out of the womb, because they obviously don't know exactly what's going to happen. So in her case, it was exactly 7 days. Sometimes it's only 1 or 2 days. In rare cases, it's that quick. Usually it's sometime between 7 and 14 days that they have to do that first surgery, which again is just a temporary measure until they get to the second surgery. Just because their little hearts are so tiny and it's so fragile. I mean, it's the size of a walnut. So if you imagine trying heart surgery on the size of a walnut, I mean, that is a really specialized surgeon that actually performs those surgeries.
Now, did your daughter ever end up having to go on something called ECMO?
She did not have to go on ECMO. No.
Good. That's awesome.
We have been really, really fortunate that she didn't have any of those kinds of complications.
That's amazing.
They suspected she had neck at one point, which she didn't, and she ended up having a fistula as a side effect, if you will, of the cath that she had. So it's just the blood flow in her leg. It was blocked, so the blood flow wasn't able to go down, and so it just went. I forget which one because I'm not a nurse, but there's the arteries and the veins, and the blood goes inside and out the other, and it couldn't go through, I guess, the vein, so it started going through the artery, so it was like backwards flow, so she wasn't getting good blood flow, and that actually kept us in the hospital longer after her second surgery from that than the actual heart surgery itself.
Wow.
Yeah.
You have had quite a journey.
I have. Hers is worse, though, I feel like.
Yeah. So I guess from now, you said she's going to have another surgery at 5 years old or before 5?
Yeah, sometime between like 3 and 5 years old. So we were actually at her cardiologist for her checkup yesterday, and he was telling us it really just depends on her heart. So her oxygen saturations right now are sitting in like the upper 80s, which good for normal people should be like 98 to 100. So she's sitting in the upper 80s. And as she continues to grow and as she continues to become more active, her oxygen saturations will continue to decrease. And as that happens, and as the blood flow isn't able to get to all of her body, the oxygenated blood flow to all of her body as well, that's when they start looking into having that third surgery. So there's a big range there. 3 to 5 years is a really big time period for them to determine when the babies are going to have that surgery. But it depends on every kiddo and exactly how their body responds to this change in their anatomy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Is she on any oxygen at home? Does she need to go home? Okay.
Yeah, she is not. We were, like I said, when we got readmitted before her second surgery, they put her on oxygen to get her oxygen saturations back up. And they left her on that for that week. And then they did a trial to see how she did. And she was pretty successful with it off. So we had that 1 day off. And then obviously once she had that second surgery, they had her on the vent. And once they took her off of that, she's been sitting. I mean, they start out after the second surgery, their body has to get used to the change in the blood flow and the way they're getting oxygenated blood to all of their bodies. So their stats start out much lower and they climb up slowly. So it literally took months. They started out again in the low 70s, and it took months before they were able to get up to where they're sitting now in the high 80s.
Yeah.
So actually she was on like 14 medications when we first left the hospital, and she's down to just 2 as of today.
Oh, wow.
Good.
Yeah.
That's so exciting.
Yeah.
You can tell, though, as you tell the story of her, though, that you're just so proud of her. Like when you described her as being a fighter, you know?
Yeah.
I am so proud of her.
Well,
like what they can withstand until you actually witness it. And you're just, I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah.
That's why I love the population so much, because it's like they can handle so much more. Like if we're an adult sitting in that situation, they'd be whining and crabbing and, they just, I don't know. Babies are just amazing. I don't want to put down any adults that have gone through any heart surgeries, because I haven't done it. I'd probably be a big baby too.
Right.
But babies are so strong and so resilient. And I know the listeners and stuff, we're on a video conference, but Lisa, you light up talking about it and the strength that she has. And I think she gets a lot of that from you too.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
She absolutely does. All right, guys, the ground is starting to thaw out, which means that I could be walking around again instead of feeling trapped in my house or having to just drive everywhere. And do you know how I'm going to be walking around? In my Rothy's shoes. They are the most comfortable flat that you've ever worn, and you can wear them all day, every day for any occasion. Seriously, you're never going to want to take them off. And it's this awesome company that is making flats from recycled plastic bottles. How cool is that? And they're insanely comfortable and stylish. I mean, I got a pair the other day, and Vito and I are heading to Thailand on our honeymoon, and I want to bring my Rothy's because they're so comfortable, but I also don't want to ruin them. So I feel torn, but I bet I'm going to bring them because I can walk in them all day. They're seriously so comfortable. And right now, we have some special offers for you guys. But before that, you get to go online and you pick a color and pattern selection. They have amazing choices for you. They're always updating their lineup. They launch new colors every few weeks and they sell out constantly. I got this awesome beige pair. I love them. They go with everything. You have to check the shoes out, and then you're going to want to tell other women that you know. Also, Meghan Markle has a pair, so come on. But you guys also know how I love sustainability, so it will blow your mind that they're made from recycled plastic water bottles because they're the softest shoe that you've ever put on your feet. Rothy's has almost reached 20 million bottles recycled. And a major added bonus, they're machine washable because, let's face it, feet sweat. I love my Rothy's, and I know that you will too. Right now, Rothy's has an amazing deal for our listeners. Use code BABES to get free shipping with no minimum. Free shipping and free returns or exchanges on your Rothy's shoe. And trust me, you're not going to want to return them. So go to rothys.com, that's ROTHYS.com, and enter BABES to get your new favorite flats and free shipping. It's a no-brainer, shoes that are comfortable, stylish, and sustainable, and free shipping. So go get yourself a pair today, rothys.com, promo BABES, to get this deal while it lasts. So I guess between this 3 to 5 years, is there signs that you look out for, or does she just meet with the cardiologist regularly? I know nothing about it. I know Danielle knows way more than I do. So, or is she? Yeah, answer that one.
Oh, okay. So we have been going every 3 months for her checkups, and they do an echo to look at the heart function and to see how everything looks, make sure that there's no signs of heart failure or anything. So we'll continue to do that. He actually switched us yesterday to 6-month visits. Yay!
Yay!
That's awesome.
Because he said that everything looks good. So what he told us was that what we have to look out for is her oxygen stats continuing to drop. And then she'll just start getting more tired more frequently. So, first time mom here, I don't really know exactly what's normal, but she usually can last anywhere between like 3 and 5 hours before she's just done and she needs a nap. So, and obviously as she continues to get older and she gets closer to that 3 years old, I know that that's going to change some. So I don't really know exactly what to expect, but that's what he told us to be on the lookout for, is for her to be tiring more easily, those oxygen stats to be continuing to drop down and consistently stay low. Because every once in a while, they fluctuate with anybody. When they're consistently down in the low 70s is when we need to start being concerned. And that's when we'll start talking about when we do that surgery.
So is she on like a constant oxygen saturation monitor? Or is that like just like at night? Or like, okay. I don't know much about what happens when the kids and stuff go home from the hospital. I don't know much about home health care. So
between the first 2 surgeries, it was very, very strict. We had to monitor everything that she took in. Thankfully, we didn't have to monitor her outputs. We had to monitor everything she took in. We had to weigh her every night at the same time, and we had to check her oxygen level. So we rented through home health care, we rented a pulse ox machine, that machine with a passion.
It alarms all the time.
And they don't set her parameters correctly. So if you're not it's beeping at you.
Yeah. But like for a heart kit, it's like 75, 85.
Yes. Yeah. So, but we had to check it every night, and we only had to put it on her for a couple of minutes if she had been sick or something, we would have had to keep it on her for more long term. Now they took away our pulse ox, and I was like, I need to be able to check that just for my own peace of mind.
Yeah.
So we had them write us a prescription so that I went and bought my own. So now we officially own a pulse ox machine, but I just spot check it. Like sometimes when she sits in her high chair and she's eating her dinner, like her little lips will turn blue. And it started to freak me out. And I'm like, okay, I need to know what her numbers are. I don't want to go to the hospital, but I need.
No, but that's good. That's good. That's really good that you're aware of those like physiologic changes and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Her, you know.
Oh yeah. And it's funny because her numbers will dip down and we'll check it and it's down in the 60s. And I'm like, I don't like that, Millie. I need you to bring that number back up for me. And so in a couple of, not that she knows what I'm saying, but usually in a couple of minutes it corrects itself and she's back up where she should be sitting. So, and I actually asked the cardiologist, he's like, sometimes it just happens. I'm like, okay, you're not worried. I'm not worried.
Yeah.
No. And that happens in normal, healthy adults and stuff too. Sometimes our O2 sats dip down and then they come right back up. It's just one of those random things.
What's a pulse ox machine? Am I saying it wrong?
Sorry. No. A pulse ox machine measures the amount of oxygen that's in your blood.
Okay.
So like hers, you wrap it around like her foot or her toe or her hand or something, which was really fun when she was like a month old, wrapping that around her little toes. But it was like a sticker that you wrapped around. And so that was the one that we got from the home health care. The one I got is a pediatric one that you just clip it on your finger, like what you do at the regular doctor's office for adults, which is not as nice because like she wiggles her foot and it comes off. So I have to sit there and dance and I sing songs to her.
Aww.
To try to keep her entertained.
Yeah.
So with like normal, and like a normal heart function, our oxygen saturations are usually anywhere from like 97 to like 100%. Mm-hmm. Cardiac kids, it varies on each defect, but sometimes they might not want them setting like above 85, like 75 to 85 is like a good range for them. Because if they're getting too much oxygen circulating, it can end up like flooding their lungs too much. So there's like a very fine line sometimes with heart defects and like how much oxygen they should have and shouldn't. So it's a highly specialized area. That like I feel like I'm constantly learning something new about it, and I've been in the NICU for 12 years. So
yeah, they're very, very particular about it. Between her first two surgeries, they were like, she cannot be like 89, 90 is absolute maximums because, like you said, it's too much.
And they even have ways if like a baby is satting too high and their oxygen levels are too high in their blood, we'll put them on something called subatmospheric oxygen. And so that just kind of displaces the O2 molecules and can actually bring it down to like 16 to like 18% when like normal oxygen is like 21% that we would breathe in as humans or as like adults or whatever. I'm like, blah, blah, blah. I'm sick. I've got a little bit of like cough medicine brain happening right now, so I'm sorry to listen.
No, I'm like learning a lot. I don't know any of this, which is why I love doing these podcasts, is because I get to learn and then also spread awareness about it, to people who don't know either. And also to all the other women who are listening to this being like, yes, Lisa, I've been there, and who are going through, you know what I mean? Who are going through it right now, or who just found out that their baby has a heart defect, or who they've already been through that and their kids, like it's just nice because the people listening to this are going to realize like they're not alone in this journey, that there's other women out there. And
that's really important. That there's sense of community
out there. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. There was one statistic that you shared that I found really interesting, though, that I didn't know, and it was that you were saying that congenital heart defects are more common than all childhood cancer combined. That is crazy. That is something that I feel like most people would not know.
There was a pretty cool, I should have pulled it up, but there's a pretty cool statistic out there that goes around on Super Bowl Sunday every year that like every man, I'll have to pull it up for you.
Okay.
Yourselves while I find this for you.
Oh, okay. She's going to drop some knowledge with us here.
Oh yeah.
I love having knowledge bombs dropped.
I do too. I just find as I get older that I feel like I love to learn. And I feel like when I was younger, though, I absorbed so much more than I do now. Yeah. Like now I have to leave Post-it notes around to like remind myself.
Girl, and when you have mom brain, it gets even worse.
Oh no. I like can't wait, but I'm like, at least like I just feel like then I'm going to have something to blame it on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I used to have a great memory and then I had a baby and it's just gone. So it's on average, a Super Bowl game lasts 3 hours and 44 minutes with one infant born with CHD every 15 minutes. During the Super Bowl game, 15 families will learn that their child has a congenital heart defect.
Wow.
It's actually, it's insane how common it is. And I tell people it's a little community that I never wanted to be part of, but I'm proud to be one now.
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
But yeah, it's pretty crazy.
So since Millie doesn't have to be on oxygen or anything like that now, is she basically able to do anything that a 10-month-old can do?
Yep. Yeah,
that's so cool.
Yeah. Between the first two surgeries, we were really restricted because it's a very dangerous time period for kiddos that have what she has. It's just really fragile, their anatomy. So we were literally on lockdown and we went to the hospital every week for visits. And other than that, we didn't go anywhere, maybe to my mom's house, but that was it. Like we didn't take her anywhere. She didn't go to the grocery store. She didn't go on walks. We didn't do anything that entire like 3-month period.
Yeah.
So now with it being flu season, we're kind of on restriction again, self-imposed, however.
Yeah.
So
I don't blame you.
Other than that, we're free to do whatever we want to do with her. She can play like a normal 10-month-old. She eats and sleeps, and that's pretty much all they do. Oops.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's so exciting. I'm so happy for you. And your story is like so inspiring. And like Danielle was saying, like she gets so much of that strength from you, and you can see it in the way that you talk about her. And, thank you so much for coming on and sharing with us. You were saying that you're a part of this community.
Yeah,
I guess if there's people out there who are going through this and looking for a community, do you have like any place where they could maybe get in touch?
With like, or just with people?
Either.
Okay.
Like a good like Facebook group, or if there's like an online thing that you found very helpful.
Okay, I don't know of any necessarily online, but there are so many Facebook groups out there. I'm probably a member of like 10 or 12 of them.
Okay.
My daughter has hypoplastic left heart syndrome, so it's HLHS. So there's also hypoplastic right heart syndrome. There's HRHS. There's I'm not even going to sit here and list all the different ones, but there are different lots for different specific defects. So there's one specifically for HLHS. There's ones for HLHS and HRHS. There's ones for just CHD. So I would say if your child has been diagnosed or you're pregnant with a child that's been diagnosed or whatever, just go on Facebook and search for CHDs or for whatever that diagnosis is, because there are so many different groups. And like in Texas, there's a Texas Moms Heart group. And then for the Texas Children's Hospital, there's a Heart Families group for that. And there's just so many different things out there. And I just found them just by searching. Because like I said, when she got diagnosed, I went and WebMD'd myself to death and found out of information because I wanted to be able to be educated so I could talk to the doctors about what's going on with her. And have a conversation with them and not be overwhelmed with the information. Because when she first got diagnosed, it was like, I didn't know what to ask, And so I wanted to be educated so that I could have a discussion with them. So I joined all the groups and I read all of the information out there and I know all the things. No, I'm just kidding. But,
no, but that's so
I can try and be educated about it. And like where I can help share things with people, I absolutely do that. And people ask questions about what happened when their daughter or their child went through the second surgery and, does it get better? I'm like, of course it does. You just have to wait.
Yeah.
You're going to make it. So
yeah, that's
they're
awesome.
out there. You just kind of have to find them. And if it's a specific defect, then just search that defect and see what you can find. Because I know that there's so many things out there.
Yeah.
Do you feel like the hospital that, Millie had the surgeries at, did they offer you did they have any support groups through that?
I think I had one, but I like never left her side. I mean, we weren't allowed to stay the night there. Back when she was born, they've switched to a different building now, and they have private rooms for all the kids and little jelly.
Nice. Oh,
wow. But when I was awake, I was with her, and I know that there were support groups and stuff, but like I didn't want to leave her. I wanted to be there so that, you know, I didn't necessarily know, but I knew, you know what I mean? So I think there was a group that met, but I never participated in it. Not because I didn't want to, I just didn't want to leave her.
You were just too scared to leave her side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the nurses kicked me out at night. They were like, you have to go home and sleep. I'm like, but she's here.
I know. And like, I hope you never felt like bad or like you were like actually being like kicked out. But like, it's very true. And like, I've had to have those conversations with parents and stuff too, being like, listen, like you're like, I'm worried about like your health at this point. Like you need to go, you need to go and have a good meal. Let me take care of her for the next 3 hours. I'll do this feed. I'll get this assessment done. Go take a 3-hour nap. Go do this. Like, just take care of yourself so that you can be like a better presence like at your daughter's side. You know?
Yeah. What they always said was you have to take care of yourself before you can take care of her. Which
exactly.
Hated that statement, but it's so true.
Hate it. Yeah. It's like when you break up with someone and they're like, there's plenty of fish in this, or like time heals everything. And you're like, I hate it. But like, it's one of those like true statements that you don't really see the truth of it until like you're kind of.
And my husband would like drive me out the door. My husband was like, we have to go now. Just leave her. I'm like, but one more kiss. Just one more kiss. I just want to give her one more kiss.
But now you get to kiss her all the time.
Oh, I do. I come home from work and I like attack her and she's crying. I'm like, I love you. I love you.
Oh, that's so exciting.
So sweet.
Thank you so much for sharing with us, Lisa. And we look forward to seeing your and Millie's journey.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So keep us updated on everything. Yeah. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on.
Bye.
Absolutely. Bye.
Bye.
She's very inspiring.
I love Lisa.
I love Lisa too. I know you guys couldn't see her face, but she does. She definitely has a light about her and such good energy. And she was just glowing the entire time talking about her daughter. So,
yeah, she really was. It was really beautiful. I'm glad I got to see that.
Yeah. And I'm so glad that she was open to coming on and sharing because I learned a lot. Honestly, I didn't know any of this until I saw her post about it. And then that's when I looked up a few statistics. And then with you just sharing what you know and her sharing her story, I just feel like I learned a lot. And I know that is, I'm sure, something that I'm going to come across in the doula world at some point as well.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's like, it's a really tough journey. And I feel like the parents' journey kind of, I hate saying journey now from The Bachelor, but it's like voyage.
Yeah.
The NICU, ICU voyage.
Yeah.
is, I don't mean to laugh at it. It's traumatic. I mean, there's, you're leaving, your child sometimes, in the hands of, other people to take care of them, you know, and it's hard because it's like, there's certain things you want to be able to do as your mom or as this like child's mom that like you might not be able to do, you know, like she was saying, she's like, they told me I might not be able to breastfeed right away or any of this. And it's true. Like sometimes these kids are having to work so hard just to like breathe, that adding like another thing, like the suck, swallow, breathe to eat is really hard for them. Not to mention that, the blood flow that's perfusing all the organs, like their intestines, is at like a lower oxygen level. And so their intestines aren't being perfused as well. So like, and when tissue isn't being perfused with enough oxygen, that tissue can become necrotic. And like, that was one of the things that Lisa touched on. She said that they were worried she had neck at one point. And that's when a portion of the bowel is not getting enough oxygenated blood and it can die.
Oh, okay.
And in worst cases, it can like perforate. And so like stool and like toxins and stuff are then in the abdominal cavity, all because of blood flow not getting to these organs.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
Yeah. It's an intense world.
Do you think, I mean, when you were talking about how babies, I mean, they are so strong.
They really are.
Do you think part of that, though, could be because when you're born, you're like in your fight, you know, you're basically in survival of the fittest when you're born. But as you grow older, you develop ego and you have all these other things. And then you're more, you know what I mean? Like when you're born, your sole purpose is to learn how to survive.
Eat, sleep, and breathe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when you're older, it's like, oh, well, this happened. Could it be because I'm being punished now for whatever? You know what I mean? Like ego and all of that develops. So it's not just like a thing that's happening to your body. It's also the mental, emotional, whatever of it. Mm-hmm. Do you think maybe that could be part of why?
Why babies are so strong, or
why babies I feel like,
or to shape us in like our adulthood, like if we're like stronger after going through something like that. I feel like
why babies are so strong, like because they don't have that, like their ego isn't developed yet. You know?
Yeah. No, I think so, because they don't know anything else. And like I've said this, and I feel like in a couple other like interviews and stuff before, and talking about the NICU, like they really only know those three things: eat, sleep, breathe. Mm-hmm. That's all I know. Yeah. Basic survival. Right. And so you're right. Like they don't have ego. They don't have any of the other things, like materialistic things.
Well, even just like so many people these days deal with anxiety, and then this, it's like you find out you have this, and then now you're dealing with anxiety on top of that, and you're you know what I mean?
Yeah. Your world revolves around very simple things.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when you only have those like few things to focus on, it's easier to focus on like a few things than a huge massive like project or multiple things. So
yeah, absolutely.
Again, cough medicine brain. I don't know if any of that makes sense or not.
It does. But we apologize for any coughs and cough medicine brain comments at all in this episode.
To summarize, babies are super strong and awesome creatures.
Yes.
And
you know what? Mamas are too. Like just hearing her story.
No, they really are. Yeah.
Like,
man. The human body in general.
Right.
Like especially like female bodies.
Not to knock men, but especially female bodies. Let's be real.
Yeah. Like we can grow a human.
Right. Yeah.
We can grow life. Mm-hmm. We can deliver life. We can do a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah. Well, and like one thing that I heard the other day that I'm kind of clinging on to this statement as this next season of the podcast takes off, and it's just that you are a mom from like the second you decide that you want to have children until you go on to the next life, you know, because so many women, like they make that choice, but maybe they're not ready. You know what I mean? It's like you become a mom when you like decide like, I want to have kids one day, you know, and a part of you like yearns for that. And a part of you wants that. But you know, everybody's now you got me not wanting to say the word journey. Everyone's journey is so different, you know, but every single story that I hear has always empowered me and inspired me of a woman, whether she's struggling getting pregnant or whether, you know, Lisa's story today or whatever it was, like every single story has just inspired me to be like, wow, like, you know, if I am able to have kids one day, like whatever happens, I know that I'll get through it.
Yeah.
You know,
and one thing I really, other quick thing I want to touch on, people make, jokes and like roll their eyes at like Dr. Google or like have a degree in WebMD. But it's like, these are sources of knowledge, you know, it's not like the full source of knowledge, but it's a tool out there and it's good. And like, I would encourage, anyone out there with any sort of, we'll stick to like kids and like babies and stuff, because that's what the podcast is about. But like if your child is like diagnosed with something, look it up, like make yourself knowledgeable on the topic and bring that knowledge to your doctor's appointments. Bring any questions, like make lists. I always encourage, like the parents and stuff that I take care of. I'm like, make lists of any questions like you need answered, because I can't read your mind for one. Like, I don't know like everything you need to hear. But if there's things that, there's no dumb questions coming from parents. Like you really, and if you bring your knowledge and like things that you have looked up, to try and educate yourself with, bring that to your healthcare team, you guys can both bring that knowledge together and like they can fill in any gaps that you have. Mm-hmm. You know, it's just like, it's just really good to make yourself knowledgeable.
Yeah.
And
well, I feel like
look stuff up, Google it.
Yeah. I feel like that's one thing I'm super passionate about, is just like educating yourself on things. Mm-hmm. I definitely think you can fall into the deep, dark Google web, but I feel like that's more when you're looking up symptoms of things and you're like, oh gosh, I'm going to die now. Like the other day when I'm like, I'm probably having a heart attack. But there is so much information and resources and stuff out there that you can learn from and be in community with people going through it and learn from them. And there's books, there's the internet, there's all of that, just to make yourself as formed as possible going into it, because then you also just feel so much more empowered when you go in and you're not just doing whatever the doctor says. You're able to ask questions and he's able to answer them for you because they want the best for you too, you know?
Yeah. And then, and like Lisa said, she was looking up the defect and knew that there was all these different surgeries and it was like a 3-step process and stuff associated with that. So like hearing that then wasn't such a shock, you know, like, so she already knew that like there would be this like 3-step process to this, you know? So it's trying to, my dad always said, plan for the worst and the worst won't happen. So it's like, it's just making yourself knowledgeable about the different things so that you won't be totally blindsided when something happens.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. Well, her story really did inspire me. She's awesome. Mm-hmm. I would love to do like a catch up with her again and see how Millie's doing. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Thank you so much, Danielle, for coming on.
I love you, Liz. Thanks for having me.
I love you, our little nurse specialist over here. I'm going to start texting you whenever anything's wrong with me now.
I tell all my friends, I'm like, just text me. Like any baby step. I mean, like, I know that's one thing I laugh with my mom about the most. Is I'm like, I know how to keep a kid alive. Like, I can do that. Mm-hmm. I'm like scared shitless about like being a mom. Like I can't answer mom questions. I can answer health related stuff. I can keep your kid alive. I don't know how to be a mom.
Yeah. But the good thing about that though is those instincts come.
Yeah.
You know, like medical thing. We don't have medical instincts like as far as certain things. I mean, I think that there are probably, you know, basic ones.
There's
but
like gut feelings. Like, I get gut feelings
Absolutely.
About some of my patients. And I'm like, something's wrong. I can feel it. We got to run some more tests.
Yeah.
And then they do. And I'm like, I knew it.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Like we're given that for a reason. But yeah, the mom stuff will come 100%.
When I'm ready.
You're a very nurturing person. So I have a hard time when you said like, I don't know how to mom. I'm like, you are a mom. That's weird to me because you are. You have Raven and me.
I love you.
I love you too. Thanks for putting up with our silliness and for learning with us today. I know that I learned a lot, and we look forward to having Danielle come drop some more knowledge on us sometime. We'd love to have you back.
I would love to come back.
And we will talk to you guys next week. See ya.
Woo! Bye.
This podcast is brought to you by Wave Podcast Network. Check out all of our shows, including the Brain Candy Podcast, I Don't Get It, Babes and Babies, Coffee Convos, and Let's Talk About It.